Department is investigating. A shooting involving a CHP officer closed southbound I-5 near Lathrop for almost 10 hours yesterday. Officers say they were called to a crash with reports that gunshots had been fired at the scene. The suspect was taken to a hospital where he later died. California Governor Newsom outlining a plan to redraw districts to make them more favorable to Democrats, a direct response to what Texas Republican lawmakers are planning. Newsom is going to share more details about this in the coming weeks. Monica?
Well, July has wrapped up. We're heading into August, but what a July it was. Take a look at those average high temperatures, 89.4 this year, last year, 98.5, and we only had one day in the 100s. Now we're heading into August. We're going to keep it pretty much status quo. Average high 93. That's where we'll top out this afternoon at about 4 p.m. Looking at those forecast highs for this Friday, first day of August, low to mid 90s through much of the valley, a little bit warmer northern and southern stretches of the region, near 80 up top for the Sierra with dry weather. Our 10-day forecast, a little bit of a warm up next week, but hey, the weekend is calling. Highs are in the low to mid 90s.
Still good. Okay. Moment that 12-year-old Claire Herta discovered an alligator swimming behind her. Claire said, you know what, it didn't seem too big at first, but later it was estimated to be, about 8 feet long. Claire says she's seen gators while swimming in the river before, but never this close. This is just like surfing. Our kids surf and there's sharks around and they're like, whatever. It's like, no, you need to be, I'm worried. You need to worry about that.
Right. Yeah, her smile definitely did not indicate panic.
No. But,
oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just an alligator. They're friendly.
I'll tell you what, don't mess with gators.
No, you're a Florida gator, and you're not to be messed with. That's for dang sure. Okay, be sure to follow us after this show over on ABC10 Plus. We'll bring you the latest news along with more weather and traffic updates from 7 to 8 a.m. We do it daily. You're invited. You are looking live at beautiful Kings Beach. What an excellent place to be right now. Maybe walk the shore with a cup of coffee with your favorite pet or whatever, or favorite friend. Who knows? Okay, much more news to come. Stay with us. All right, welcome friends. We do have some breaking news out of Sacramento. Fire crews investigating an overnight fire here. This destroyed a lumber yard. Sacramento Fire tells us it started about 2:30 this morning at this location, which is Valley Redwood, a landscape design store on Auburn Boulevard. Looks okay now, but this is what crews arrived to. Fire going pretty well, forcing SMUD to shut off electricity. Heavy water being poured on this one. Firefighters say they had to work on protecting nearby structures because the fire was growing so aggressively and large. Crews are cleaning up the scene now as we're showing you. You could see some emergency crews off in the distance walking around. Officials have yet to report any injuries from the scene. An arson unit is there as well. Again, this is on Auburn Boulevard. Thank you for joining us on ABC 10 Plus. We've moved the operation over here to the Plus. Let's take it over to Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods with an update on the weekend.
Yes, we are going to continue to monitor a gorgeous start to our August. First day coming in with beautiful skies out there. All right, Amador, Nevada, as well as El Dorado counties. We're looking at actually that's Sutter County as we take a live look outside. Marin County, we've got some fog moving in. It will partially clear for the afternoon, but that's going to be kind of how things play out right through our beginning of our weekend as well. Right now, we're in the upper 50s to lower 60s in the valley, 50s across the coast, right around 70 throughout the foothills, and close to 40 up top for the Sierra, where we're mainly looking at dry conditions through the weekend. Hourly weather, our average high 93 degrees. We'll spend most of the day in the 80s to right around 90, but really not peak those temperatures until 4 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then a nice slow cooling trend as we head into the evening hours as well. Looking at our weather impact headlines, near average temperatures for today. We'll keep that in play for tomorrow with the sunny skies. A little bit deeper into the outlook, though, we've got some temperature swings as we head into the first full week of August with a bit of a bump up in temperatures. Nothing too extreme, though. July wrapping up with 20 days below average. And we're talking 5 to 15 degrees below average, not just 1 or 2. Our average high temperature, 89.4 degrees. That's going to put us in the top 5 coolest for July reading since 1990. And it wasn't just throughout the valley. All the way towards the coast, our 30-day max temperature departure deep in the blue, all the way from the north coast of California, central coast, and into Southern California. Lots of low clouds and fog. A lot of folks were saying it was the July gloom instead of the June gloom. But we had June gloom continuing into July across the coast, and that left San Francisco with the 31st coolest start to the summer season. Records go back to 1874 with an average high of 63.8 degrees. Sacramento, a little bit not quite as cool, 76th coolest since record keeping began in 1877 with that average high for the 2-month period at 89.1. So again, a little bit of a bump up here as we begin August. A's forecast as we get back in action against the Diamondbacks. First pitch, 7:05. 80s to start off that game, 70s as we're closing things up. High pressure ridge, well, that's going to build back towards the west coast, at least temporarily. It's going to suppress a lot of the widespread thunderstorms in the Sierra. Low to the north of us will bring back a nice onshore flow Sunday into Monday, and then we'll start to see those temperatures climbing once again. 80s up top for the Sierra today with 80s and 90s down low. Highs across the coast are in the 60s with areas of morning low clouds and fog. 90s as we head inland. Nothing too extreme, pretty close to average with overnight lows falling into the 50s. Gives us a nice little break from these afternoon highs. We'll be in the 90s throughout the capital region as well. That extends all the way into the east side of the valley. Our 5-day forecast for the mountains, the foothills, and the coast. We're going to keep it mild over the weekend outlook, a bit breezy into that Sunday forecast with our extended outlook continuing to see some cooler weather on Sunday into Monday. But there's that brief warm up that we see into next week. Walt?
All right. Thank you, Monica. 7:05. Traffic stop. CHP Officer Dan Ruiz. Dan?
Hey, good morning. Well, we're doing all right around Sacramento right now. Those earlier incidents that we had on the surface streets and on our freeways have all cleared up. And that includes the Auburn Boulevard closure. Looks like we got word from the fire department that can be opened up now. So if you were making plans to get around that fire scene closure on Auburn Boulevard in between College Oak and Myrtle, that is now open. Earlier crash we had too, eastbound 50 at Stockton Boulevard. That one is all picked up and off the freeway as well. So a little bit heavy, just commuter traffic around Sacramento, but otherwise no incidents slowing you down. If you're making your way across the Yolo Causeway right now through Solano County, also same story, good ride all the way down to the Carquinez Bridge. 205 is a little bit slow as you make your way out of Tracy, past the 205-580 merge and starting to climb up the Altamont Pass there, but that's starting to break up, and you are doing okay as you make your way towards the top of the mountain there. Stockton Modesto also coming in clear right now with no incidents on 5 or 99. Walt, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Good to see you, and I hope you have a good weekend. New video overnight showing what's left after a fire that spread across multiple structures. This one started late last night in a garage along Hawk Avenue in Natomas. The flames spread to another garage and a gazebo before crews got this one under control. No word yet on what sparked this, and no injuries were reported. Happening today, a Tuolumne County woman accused of killing a man with fentanyl poisoning is set to be sentenced. Stacy Christ was arrested by deputies last November, reportedly found with nearly 30 grams of fentanyl. She was charged in the death of Richard Bennett, who she allegedly sold the fentanyl to. Earlier this month, she agreed to a plea deal. She'll be sentenced this morning at 9. A high school teacher in Citrus Heights was arrested yesterday, accused of annoying or molesting multiple kids. 48-year-old Augustine Sanchez, a teacher at Mesa Verde High School, is accused on those crimes. Police started investigating the case in March. They have identified 6 victims. The San Juan Unified School District tells us Sanchez has worked for them since 2012. He was placed on leave back in February. He turned himself in to Sacramento County Jail yesterday. And the San Juan Unified School District released a statement saying, in part, quote, prior to beginning service, all employees are subject to a thorough background check, and we investigate all reports of inappropriate behavior with the involvement of law enforcement when appropriate, end of quote. Let's go to El Dorado County. A Shingle Springs mom demanding answers, alleging her son was nearly kidnapped a week ago and no one's been arrested. ABC 10's Austin Castro talked to her and deputies handling this.
This quiet Shingle Springs neighborhood is where Brittany Moreno says an attempt was made to kidnap her 10-year-old son. Her son now safely back home. However, she's now raising new questions as the investigation continues. For Brittany Moreno, last Friday was one of the most traumatic days for her and her son. Moreno sharing on social media what she believes is an attempted kidnapping.
We did receive a call for service from Shingle Springs on Friday, and that stemmed an investigation. Since that call, and then subsequent days, it has been under investigation with detectives from our investigations division.
The sheriff's office said they aren't able to share specific details due to the nature of the investigation. Moreno, however, alleges her son was abducted from their yard in broad daylight. According to her, a neighbor returned her son about 90 minutes later, saying he came crying out of the woods behind his house a quarter-mile away. She adds her son told her someone dragged him off the swing and into the woods and was able to escape. Moreno told me off camera she was disturbed by the response from the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office. Among the claims, she says the Sheriff's Office suggested there was a chance he made it up and officers didn't check the scene. I asked the Sheriff's Office if there's anything that could have been done differently on their part in a situation like this.
Fully reviewing it, that's going to take a little bit of time to kind of look and see if there is. And if there is, that will be addressed. But right now, it's still, it's early on.
The Sheriff's Office now reminding parents to be mindful of their children's whereabouts and surroundings. As for the Sheriff's Office investigation,
we use the methods in certain times that are available to us or that we deem appropriate at that time. And these investigations, they take time.
Brittany is asking anyone who lives in the area that may have information or surveillance video to come forward. Reporting in Shingle Springs, Austin Castro, ABC 10.
Austin, thank you. A bill meant to deter potential sex traffickers is set to become law in California. Sacramento County Sheriff Jim Cooper has been a vocal supporter of Senate Bill 14 since its start. The Sheriff's Department has conducted multiple operations addressing sex trafficking and says this new law will help with their enforcement.
The biggest thing is now are the penalties that go along with it. This won't simply be a misdemeanor where they get a ticket and go off on their way.
I was very grateful the legislature took the leadership, made some amendments. worked across party lines to get that bill on my desk, and I was honored to sign it.
The law takes effect the 1st of January, would also make it a misdemeanor for anyone to loiter in any public place with the intent to pay for sex. All right, you are looking live at Dallas, Texas, and in recent days, Republicans there, state lawmakers, have pushed a plan to redraw congressional districts in the state to favor Republicans. Their goal is to counter any swing toward Democrats in next year's midterm elections. They want to get ahead of that. In a press conference yesterday, California Governor Newsom outlined his plan to counter that. He's calling for a special election in early November to redraw California's maps to make districts more favorable to Democrats.
And they're doing a midterm rejection of objectivity and independence, a act that we could criticize from the sideline or an act that we can respond to in kind, fight fire with fire.
Newsom has said the proposed redistricting maps have not been made available yet. He hasn't seen them, and he will have more information to share, he said, in the next week or two. Newsom says he wants this to be transparent, ultimately decided by voters in California. And the last time there was a statewide special election, 2021, that was the recall of Governor Newsom. That cost just over $200 million. Republican State Assemblyman Carl DeMaio says another special election would cost the state $250 million. And students across the country getting ready for a new school year, which could include a new national fitness test. President Trump signed an executive order yesterday reestablishing the presidential fitness test in public schools. The fitness test was first introduced in 1966 by then President Lyndon Johnson. In 2012, President Obama replaced that test with an assessment called the Fitnessgram, which focused on bettering individual health. President Trump called his new test, President Johnson's test, a wonderful tradition. Today's tariff deadline for other countries to make a deal has now been pushed back a week. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has a look at the impact it's having on small business.
This morning, President Trump unveiling new tariff rates set to take effect in 7 days. The new deadline coming a day after Trump said the original August 1st deadline would not be extended. The executive order lays out rates to be applied against nearly 70 countries, including several of our largest trading partners. The tariffs range from 10% all the way up to 41%, with many countries sitting at 15%. One country's new tariff rate will begin today, Canada's. The president raising that country's tariff from 25% to 35%, although it will affect only a small percentage of Canadian products. As for Mexico, a new deal will pause higher tariffs on Mexican goods for another 90 days. The tariff whiplash has the Federal Reserve taking a wait-and-see approach to interest rates, even as President Trump pushes for a cut.
Higher tariffs have begun to show through more clearly to prices of some goods, but their overall effects on economic activity and inflation remain to be seen.
The changing tariffs causing a lot of uncertainty for consumers and businesses, including Jennifer Bergman, who's closing her toy store in New York City.
No one was willing to take the risk of having to raise their prices. No one knew what was going to happen, and so no one could plan. You can't plan when there's chaos, and Washington is chaos.
This week, Apple said it expects more than $1 billion in tariff losses next quarter. Procter & Gamble said they plan to raise prices on about a quarter of their products, in part because of the higher costs from President Trump's tariffs, including items like Crest toothpaste and Tide detergents. And one French skincare company also warning of higher prices to come on cosmetics. When asked whether he's concerned about tariffs raising prices for American consumers, Trump saying the only price that spiked is the hundreds of billions of dollars coming in.
The very legality of the tariffs was the issue before a federal appeals court Thursday, with judges sharply questioning whether President Trump has the authority to issue tariffs in the first place without congressional approval. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
All right, coming up on ABC 10 Morning News, the face behind countless hits taking a step back from the stage. What one of music's biggest stars says he's had to sing through in recent performances. Mark S. Allen having a good time this morning.
Walt, I'm not going to lie. When I try to dance on TV, I look like the gopher on Caddyshack. Google it, ladies. Google it. Hey, coming up in a moment, it is the Salsa Festival. 2 weeks away, but it is going to be epic and amazing. Great food, great beverage, great dancing, and more. We'll be right back. And happy Friday. Here's a sample.
Si te busco por aquí, me sales por allá. Lo único que yo quiero.
Live look over the Golden One Center this morning. We're just over 6 months ago. Justin Timberlake performed for thousands as part of his Forget Tomorrow tour. That wrapped up Wednesday. And yesterday, Timberlake revealed he was battling Lyme disease during many of his tour's shows. In an Instagram post, he said living with it can be, quote, relentlessly debilitating, both mentally and physically. He added that at one point he had to decide whether to keep performing and was, quote, glad I kept going, end of quote. Lyme disease is transmitted by ticks. It affects about 500,000 people every year in the U.S. Doctors advise getting treatment early if you get bitten by a tick. Keep an eye out for a red bullseye-looking rash around the tick bite. And the reduction in demand for COVID vaccines is hitting Moderna. The company says it plans to cut 10% of its global workforce by the end of the year. That will leave it with less than 5,000 employees. Moderna has seen its stock drop more than 20% this year. Competing COVID vaccine manufacturer Pfizer has also seen a dip this year, though Pfizer has only seen about 12% of their stock drop. The CDC recently reported that nearly 4% of U.S. kindergartners had an exemption for a required vaccination last school year. The report said coverage for all vaccines, including measles, was lower than the years before. Due to those exemptions, about 138,000 new school children went without one state-mandated vaccine. Experts say the majority of this year's measles cases have been in unvaccinated children. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, 45 states allow religious beliefs to be used as a reason for a vaccine exemption for children. All right, now to those flash floods from Washington, D.C. into the Northeast. Severe weather sweeping the region. Look at that. One boy tragically losing his life after being swept into a drainage pipe. In the meantime, commuters left scrambling. Some people in New York climbing out of cars to avoid rising water. In New York with the latest, ABC's Andrew Dimber.
Severe storms and flash flooding slamming the East Coast. Emergencies declared in New York and New Jersey. Rainfall rates of 3 inches per hour, making a mess of rush hour. Water filling up this bus. More than 100 passengers had to use ladders and ropes to escape this Long Island Railroad train.
When they said we had to climb down, I was like having a panic attack.
Drivers trapped in vehicles along this expressway. Powerful thunderstorms hitting Pennsylvania. Multiple lightning strikes reported. In Maryland, the storm's turning deadly. A boy in Mount Airy was playing when he was swept into a drainage pipe.
The water was all the way across, and again, probably about chest level. There was too much suction, and unfortunately it ended tragically.
Outside Baltimore, water swamping roads, stranding drivers. Heavy rain also in D.C., this massive tree crushing cars. A different problem in the upper Midwest, smoke from Canadian wildfires causing some of the worst air quality in the world. Alerts issued from Minnesota to Indiana. Meanwhile, in Texas, we're learning more about the catastrophic July 4th flood that devastated Kerr County, killing more than 130 people. At a hearing, the county's emergency management coordinator, William Thomas, revealing he was sleeping as floodwaters swept the region because he was sick at the time.
I was awakened around 5:30 a.m. on July the 4th by my wife, following a call from the City of Kerrville EMC, Jeremy Hughes, requesting that I mobilize.
But by then, hundreds of people, including 27 young campers and staff members at Camp Mystic, had been swept away by the rising water.
You should have been here directing that response. That's your responsibility.
Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Coming up, we'll have a look at the top stories we're following to help get you out the door. Stay with us. But this is an ABC 10 morning news update. I'm Walt Gray. Fire crews are investigating an overnight fire destroyed a lumber yard along Auburn Boulevard. Sacramento Fire tells us it started around 2:30 this morning. You are looking live at Valley Redwood, a landscape design store. No word on what caused this fire as of yet. Drivers in Placer County will want to prepare for delays along Highway 49 north of Auburn. Caltrans is working on a new roundabout, meaning they'll be reducing the highway to one lane in both directions from Lawrenson Road to Florence Avenue. Lane closures will last through the weekend, should be lifted by Monday morning. In a press conference yesterday, California Governor Newsom outlined a plan to redraw districts to make more favorable to Democrats. This is in direct response to Texas lawmakers, Republicans. Newsom plans on sharing more details in the coming weeks.
Getting a check on our weather conditions heading into this new month as we wrapped up a gorgeous July. Only one 100-degree day, average high 89.4 degrees. Quite a contrast from last year, which was the hottest on record since 1990. Taking a look around the region here for our hourly weather. Clear skies, highs will reach the low 90s. A little bit warmer on the northern and southern stretches of the valley. 60s along the coast. Near 80 up top for this year with dry weather, as you can see around the region. We'll keep it dry for the high country. Lake Tahoe expecting highs in the 70s through this first weekend of August. We're in the 90s for the Central Valley. Beyond that, our extended forecast, a little bit of a warm up next week, but getting into this weekend should be quite nice. Average high 93 will be close to that Friday and Saturday. The coolest days Sunday and Monday before we start that warming trend with highs in the mid to upper 90s to near 100 next week.
All right, we start this half hour breaking news. Sacramento fire crews investigating an overnight fire that destroyed a lumber yard. Sacramento Fire tells us this one started about 2:30 this morning at Valley Redwood, which is a landscape design store on Auburn Boulevard. Here's what crews saw as they arrived. The fire getting close to power lines, forcing SMUD to shut off electricity as crews poured water on the flames. Firefighters say they had to work on protecting nearby structures as they arrived because the fire was growing so large and aggressive. Crews are cleaning up the scene right now. You're looking live, and officials have yet to report any injuries from the scene. An arson unit is at the scene as well. Thank you for joining us on ABC 10 Plus. I'm Walt Gray. Let's take it over to Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods with what the weekend is to bring us weather-wise.
Well, it's the first weekend of August. We've got the Amador County Fair going on, as well as lots of local activity. So it should be a great start to our new month. The Amador County looking at clear skies, Nevada County as well. Sutter County, blue skies outside, although we have some fog just off to the west in Marin County. That should partially clear throughout the afternoon. Temperatures along the coast starting off in the 50s. We get a little bit of that Bay Area cool breeze coming in with temperatures in the 50s to right around the lower 60s in the valley. A little warmer for the foothills, starting off near 70 and close to 40 up top for the Sierra. The nice thing about the forecast in the coming days is we're not going to see as much of widespread thunderstorm action in the high country, giving us a little bit more flexibility on travel for the upcoming weekend. Morning lows start us off in the 60s for the valley. Highs are going to warm into the low 90s. That average high 93. That's where we'll peak today between 4 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when we get those hottest temperatures of the day. Then a slow cooling into the evening with temperatures once again falling into the 50s to near 60. Our weather impact headlines. We started off with today's conditions near average highs. Tomorrow, sunny, continuing to see near average highs, but there is a bit of a temperature swing ahead in the forecast. Nothing too extreme, just a little bouncing around, kind of planning for those cooler days ahead. Speaking of cool, look at the wrap up of July, 20 days below average, and we're talking 5 to 15 degrees below average. Just 7 days of highs in the mid to upper 90s, and only one day that we hit a high of 100 plus degrees. That puts that average temperature at 89.4 degrees for the month. Now, this was not only for the valley. This extended all the way across the coast, where some places were marking one of the coldest Julys that they've had on record. So when we take a look at that, you can see all the blue popping up here on the map, including Southern California, parts of the Central Valley, even Northern California, where temperatures can easily dip into the 110s throughout the course of July. When we take a look at the 2-month period, June into July, starting off our summer season, San Francisco, 31st coolest on record, average high 63.8 degrees. Sacramento, the 76th, the coolest on record. Keep in mind, though, those records go back to 1877 with an average high of 89.1 for that 2-month period. A's back in action for tonight. If you're headed over to West Sacramento, first pitch 7:05 will be at 87 degrees. Temperatures cooling into the 70s as we start off that series against the Diamondbacks. High pressure ridge starting to build back towards the west coast. That is going to suppress a little bit of the instability. We'll get this low feeding us with that nice onshore flow Sunday into Monday, and then that high's not going away. It's back with us and brings us highs that'll be warmer next week. Highs near 80 up top for the Sierra today, 80s and 90s down low with highs in the 60s along the coast. We'll move inland with slightly warmer weather. We're in the 90s up and down the valley with that capital region looking at highs in the 90s for today. No 100s, though, that you're seeing on the forecast. Heading into this first weekend of August, highs in the 70s up top for the Sierra, 90s for much of the foothills, 60s along the coast, with our extended forecast showing the warmer weather ahead next week. But for this first weekend of August, highs in the low to mid 90s. Walt.
All right, we'll take it, Monica. Thank you. No triple digits in the immediate. That's always good. All right, let's go to see what's happening on the roadways. CHP Officer Dan Ruiz. Dan, good morning.
Good morning. Not doing too bad on our freeways around Sacramento right now. I don't have any incidents happening, just a little bit of extra volume as that morning commute starts to build up there. It's a little slow coming into downtown from 99 there, and on the Capital City Freeway making your way across the American River there, it's a little bit slow as well. Only crash in the area is going to be in Carmichael. This is going to be at the intersection of El Camino at Garfield. Looks like that's in the middle of the intersection. A couple cars that got together. Fire and ambulance are on scene. We just arrived on scene as well, and we're waiting on some tow trucks to get that cleared out. So that may be slowing you down a bit in the Carmichael neighborhood. If you're making your way across the Yolo Causeway right now, it is slow over the causeway, but once you get out towards Davis, you're looking good all the way down to the Carquinez Bridge. Stockton and Modesto doing all right now with no incidents on 5 or 99, and 205 still a little bit slow as you make your way from the Mountain House area down over, start to climb up the Altamont Pass there, but once you get to the top of the pass, you're back at the freeway speeds and really good all the way in towards Oakland. Walt, back to you.
All right, Dan, thank you. Right now, drivers in Placer County going to be preparing for delays along Highway 49 north of Auburn. Caltrans is working on a new roundabout. They're reducing the highway to one lane in both directions from Lawrence Road to Florence Avenue. Lane closures will last through the weekend, and the plan is that this should be wrapped up by Monday morning. There's the route right there. And if you were driving to and from Woodland yesterday, here's what it looked like along I-5. Grass fire started yesterday afternoon. Apparently a car sparked this one along asphalt. River Road was closed for the firefight, but that has since reopened. Cal Fire says there have been more than 4,000 wildfires this year, burning nearly 230,000 acres statewide. Yesterday, Governor Newsom, along with Cal Fire, announced the addition of the final 2 of 16 Firehawk helicopters. They arrived at McClellan Airfield. Governor says this couldn't come at a better time after last week's dangerous lightning strikes in the high country.
So this is the time where we are particularly focused and energized, and we are now more committed to pre-positioning, protecting, and continuing to prevent, to the extent possible, the impacts of Mother Nature.
The state now has the largest civilian helicopter firefighting fleet in the world, according to the governor. It was a traffic nightmare for thousands of people in the valley yesterday morning. That shootout involving a CHP officer closed southbound I-5 near Lathrop for about 10 hours. This morning, we know the suspect in that shooting has died. We were on the scene all morning yesterday. CHP says it broke out about 10:50 Wednesday night. Officers say they were called to a crash. There were also reports gunshots had been fired at the scene.
Upon arrival, they were faced with an armed suspect, and then a officer-involved shooting occurred.
I heard about 5 shots. Shortly thereafter, I heard what sounded like a machine gun. There was very rapid shots, but I understand there was a gunfight up there, so it could have been 1 or more people shooting at the same time to give the effect of a machine gun.
The suspect was taken to a hospital where he died. The CHP did not say how many officers opened fire, but they did say no officers or bystanders were hurt. The investigation forced an almost 10-hour closure of the freeway. I-5 reopened just after 10 yesterday morning. The DA's office is now assisting in the investigation. We're also learning the suspect in Monday's deadly shooting at a casino in Reno has died. 26-year-old Dakota Hoover was shot during a shootout with police Monday and taken to the hospital. Those are the 3 victims. Hoover is accused of shooting and killing those 3 near the valet area in the parking lot of the resort. Deputies still don't know a motive. And new this morning, suspects arrested for stealing 100 bags of soil in Linden. San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office says they caught the suspects with 52 bags of soil in the truck. At a nearby orchard, deputies found 48 bags of soil buried in the dirt. All that's worth about $2,000 in all. Sacramento could start charging more people for parking. Here's a look at how the city is planning to expand parking. The zone includes downtown, midtown, East Sacramento, meaning drivers may soon have to pay to park in neighborhoods that were once free. ABC 10's Gosh Sangha shows us what people can expect and why officials say it's needed.
Sacramento shaking up its parking zones, combining old districts into one big area, stretching into East Sacramento, Elmhurst, and North Oak Park.
We've seen that demand grow greatly around the Med Center for sure, around places like Sackyard and the line on Elvis.
No new meters have been installed yet, but the updated zone gives the city flexibility to act in high-demand areas. Councilmember Phil Pluckybaum says it's about improving turnover, not ticketing people.
If there's a demand for parking in that area, having those spaces turn over more frequently every few hours really helps, create some availability in that public parking space. Sometimes folks will park and leave a car for up to 72 hours.
Let me know if you need anything.
Philippi Forget runs Sisu, a boutique on Folsom Boulevard near 48th Street. She says metered parking could be a double-edged sword for local shops.
There's pros and cons to both of it. For the business owners, you're having people go in and out with an hour or 2 limit. That's great for the businesses.
Nearby resident Steve Pear says he's neutral, but knows some drivers aren't thrilled by the idea.
Parking meters can be a pain, though. I think it deters some people from going to businesses or stopping where they might.
Still, Councilmember Pluckybaum says parking remains one of the city's most common complaints. All of this comes as the city has recently increased its hourly parking rates by 50%, anywhere from $3 to $6, depending on the specific tier.
This is coming. You guys made this change. The city is in a budget crunch. Are the two related?
No, the cost to collect revenue from tickets is pretty much a zero-sum game. We do make some money on the actual parking revenue when people pay at the meters and in the garages. It's certainly not enough money to balance the budget problems we've got.
And for those still frustrated by the changes,
riding your bike is free. Just saying.
Reporting in Sacramento, Garch Paul Sunga, ABC10.
We're told there are programs to support neighbors and businesses like residential and merchant parking permits. Any new meters would only go in after community input and parking studies. For now, the city is watching where demand grows. And new this morning, a machine's mistake in Southern California almost cost a woman $8,000. Her name, Kate Daniels. She parked at Glendale Memorial Hospital for 45 minutes. When she left, her parking ticket was $7,800. The machine said she had entered the lot to park 3 years ago. A human attendant was not able to fix the mistake. The right people eventually got involved, and Kate got a check in reimbursement. All right, a new report finding that roughly 4 in 10 Californians carry medical debt. That's according to the California Healthcare Foundation. Right now, there's a bill moving through the state assembly that could offer some financial relief for patients. The bill would require hospitals to check whether patients are eligible for charity care or discounted payments before sending them a bill. The California Hospital Association continues to oppose the proposal, saying hospitals already promote financial assistance programs. The legislation has to pass the state Senate by September 12th. More than 300,000 step stools are being recalled for fall and injury hazards. Durrell Home Furnishings is recalling its Costco two-step kitchen steppers that were sold at major retailers nationwide. The problem is with the safety bar that attaches to the back of the step stool. The company has received 34 reports of the safety bar detaching or breaking, which has led to 2 head injuries. If you have one of these steppers, stop using it. Contact the manufacturer for a free repair kit. All right, coming up on ABC 10 Morning News, the A's traded an all-star and another pitcher to the Padres, but they did get something in return. We'll break it all down in a moment. Marcus Allen.
Hey, check it out, Folklorico dancers. We have chips, we have salsa, but let's end with the salsa because that's what it's all about. But in addition to that, you're going to have amazing performances. You're going to get to know them. You're also going to get to know the food, the beverage, the fun. As ABC 10 Morning News continues, we will be right back. welcome back to ABC10. Thanks for watching the ABC10 Plus app. You're watching some amazing salsa dancing. Why? Because in 2 weeks, it is the Salsa Festival in Orangeville. If you love salsa, spicy, C. Mild, C. Medium, C. Picante, C. Whatever kind of salsa you like, it's going to be there along with dancing. All kinds of vendors, all kinds of fun. No El Toro. This is going to be the place to be. Hey, give the salsa dancers a big round of applause. And while we're at it, let's shout out and get to know them. If you would, introduce yourselves.
Hello, my name is Brian Gomez.
And
I'm Courtney Belmer.
Awesome. You guys are awesome. How long have you been doing this?
We've been doing this for about 3 years. We're with OG Salsa Dance Academy. Our studio is located in Roseville, California. We teach on Tuesday and Thursday nights between 6:30 and 9:30. Our level 1 beginner class is 6:30 on Tuesdays. So
There
if
you
you've
go.
never danced before, that's the class for you.
Exactly. A lot of information. So if you forget it, just show up in 2 weeks at the festival because you guys will also be handing out the information, teaching people on the spot even.
Yes, we'll do a lesson, we'll do a demo. You can eat salsa, you can dance salsa with us. It'll be a great event, so come out and support.
Awesome. Once again, give them a big round of applause. All right. It takes a village. Sydney, if you will, congratulations. We met you on ABC10 just a few years ago, and not to say that it started humble, but it was just a few people gathering in the parking lot of a Mexican food restaurant. And now I'm going to have camera guy Hugh look around. Imagine like Coachella, this entire lawn filled with vendors, filled with fun, filled with festivities.
Absolutely. Vendors, crafters, beer and margarita garden. We've got, of course, the live dancers, live music, and there's over 30 salsas to come out and taste test and vote.
Got it. Bunch of big celebrity judges. Doug Lazy from Now 100.5. Who else?
Max Payne Griffin, he's a pro UFC
Oh, yeah.
fighter, so he's going to come out with cuffs ready to go. I'm just kidding. Katie Yaunt, honorary mayor, Fair Oaks, Marianne Povey from Orangeville Live, and then a representative from Josh Hoover's office.
That's awesome. 2 weeks from tomorrow, it is the Orangeville Salsa Festival. Today is the only day to get tickets online.
Yes, today's the last day to purchase online, but you can show up day of. We're here at the Orangeville Grange from 10 to 2, so you can come pay $5 at the door, and kids 5 and under are free.
Helping Hands. When people get into the back nine of life, sometimes they can't change light bulbs, the batteries in the fire extinguishers, mow lawns. Helping Hands helps them connect the dots.
Yes, Helping Hands OV, we assist low-income, elderly, and disabled with small household tasks. So just like the ones you said that we tend to take for granted. We also have some other bigger community programs, and this event in particular, the Salsa Cook-Off, is supporting our newest program, giving scholarships for people to attend blue-collar trade schools.
That's awesome. Truth be told, full transparency, camera guy Hugh and I were talking about this before this all began today, and I said, I'm so proud of organizations like this. Watching them grow is so much fun, and congratulations. Grow you have.
Yes, we're growing. We're putting in the good work, one step at a time, one hand at a time. It's amazing.
All right, so it's 2 weeks from tomorrow. What's the best thing about it?
Everything. The salsa. Can you imagine over 30 salsas, this entertainment, these amazing dancers, and again, only $5. So come support a local nonprofit and have fun with your friends and family. Bring everybody.
That's an amazing value. All right, hey, give the Folklorico dancers a big round of applause. Because we haven't got to know them, roll call. Tell me your name. ¿Cómo se llama?
Samantha.
And?
Catalea.
And?
Catalea.
And over here?
Melina Madera.
Again?
Melina Madera.
Awesome. And?
Rochelle.
And?
Aria.
And?
Lila. Elisa.
Awesome. They've been here all morning long. Again, parents, give them a big round of applause. All right. The name of your group is the name of a cactus. Say the name of your group again.
Los Sabaritos.
And what's your favorite thing about being in this group?
About dancing, about doing things.
Yeah. And it's a great way to show off your culture, too.
Yes, it is.
All right. Do you like doing it at 5 a.m. in the morning, or would you rather do it in the afternoon or night?
I'll do afternoon and night.
I knew that was the answer. In the meantime, can you give us one more sample, one more performance?
Yes,
because,
please.
By the way, our anchor,
please.
Walt Gray, the same thing. When I say,
please.
Walt, would you rather do the morning news in the morning or the morning news in the afternoon? He said afternoon would be so much better.
I'd do the morning news in the afternoon, yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Folklorico dancers, the Salsa Festival, 2 weeks from tomorrow. 3, 2, 1, hit it.
These outfits are amazing. She's the star. The little one has stolen the show.
I love
All
that
right.
the bull is a prop. The bull is
All right, we even live and we have the Toro, El Toro.
This
This is
2 weeks from tomorrow, the Salsa Festival, and back to you.
all right. Thank you. I feel like we're in Tampico or Guadalajara. This is awesome. I love this. Such familia. Okay, thank you, Mark. After nearly 6 months, hard transition here. Football is back. Preseason football. Detroit Lions, LA Chargers faced each other last night. Hall of Fame game. Trey Lance, number 5 for the Chargers, getting fired up by Jim Harbaugh. Remember Trey Lance? There he is, rolls right in the flat, touchdown, Chargers. They win 34-7 over Detroit. Niners are going to play their first preseason game on the 9th at home against the Broncos. There's a pick. These teams not playing any of their starters, so this is just a chance to see what the new guys can do. So Ticketmaster prices for the 49ers and Broncos game, just $24 to get in if you want to see NFL preseason football. There's Mason Miller, the great relief pitcher for the A's. Oh, that's right. He's now a San Diego Padre. He's been traded by the A's along with starter J.P. Sears. And that's all we're going to say about that. Leo DeVries is one of the trade pieces that the A's are getting back. Happening today, the Gem Fair is returning to Sacramento. We'll be here through the weekend. Look at all that information there. It's all on one screen. It'll be open from noon to 6 at the Scottish Rite Masonic Center. Admission $7, but it's valid for the whole weekend. Lots of gemstones, jewelry, and crystals, as it says on the bottom of the screen. All right, starting today, the Roseville Galleria Mall will celebrate their 25th anniversary. Every Friday in August, there'll be sipping, shopping, and surprises. Shoppers can start at Center Court by picking up your passport to style. Collect stamps. You can visit 5 stores, spend $500. If you completely fill out your passport, you can gain exclusive access to a VIP lounge. You'll even get a swag bag. Event starts at 1, goes till 4. Roseville Galleria, happy 25th birthday. Coming up, we'll have top stories we're following this morning, plus another look at your weather and your traffic. Stay with us. We hope you will. This is an ABC10 Morning News Update. I'm Walt Gray. Fire crews are still investigating an overnight fire destroyed this lumber yard along Auburn Boulevard. You are looking live. Sacramento Fire tells us it started about 2:30 this morning at Valley Redwood, a landscape design store. No word yet on what caused this fire. A shooting involving a CHP officer closed southbound I-5 near Lathrop for almost 10 hours yesterday. Officers say they were called to a crash with reports that gunshots had also been fired at the scene. The suspect was taken to a hospital where he died. The city of Sacramento looking to add parking meters could be added in downtown, midtown, and East Sacramento neighborhoods. Officials tell us the goal is to free up parking spaces by cutting down on people taking up one space all day. Monica.
All right, starting off this Friday forecast with temperatures in the 50s and 60s. As we take a live look outside, our sunrise was at 6:08. That sunset not until 8:16. Temperatures currently in the low to mid 60s, climbing into the upper 60s for Modesto and Marysville throughout the valley. Tahoe, sunny skies and 51 degrees. We'll see largely clear skies throughout the Tahoe Basin for today. Hourly weather for the valley, average high 93 degrees. We'll reach that between 4 and 5 o'clock this afternoon. We'll start it off in the 60s, and you can see how those temperatures climb throughout the day. Tonight will cool things down into the 50s and 60s with this first day of August showcasing highs in the 90s up and down the valley, 60s for the coast, 80s and 90s for the foothills, and close to 80 up top for the Sierra. What a difference a year makes. So we are now on the back edge of what was one of the coolest Julys that we've had on record. Only one day in the 100s. Quite a contrast from last year, right? So we were enjoying those beautiful, unseasonably cool conditions through our July. Now, some of that is actually going to continue into our August forecast, as we can see around the region. Highs will stay in the 90s for the weekend outlook in the valley, 70s with sunny skies for the Sierra. Our extended forecast includes a brief drop in temperatures Sunday into Monday, warmer next week.
All right, here's what's coming up in 1 minute on ABC 10 Plus. A recap, a look at the headlines you may have missed. At 8:30, Champions of Hope. Our Alex Bell shares inspiring stories of everyday good happening in the Sacramento region, highlighting the positive impact of local people and events. Your California Life is at 9. Then after that, it's the Marcus Allen Show. Take a look.
Oh, that's always entertaining.
It is. I'm sure he'll be reviewing some movie or some such thing.
Oh, yeah, I've heard he does that.
He does that.
Yes.
That's his regular job.
Not dancing.
His side hustle is
out of
salsa.
the salsa.
Yes.
Salsa
yes.
fair.
Interviewing young folklorico dancers. Okay, we're going to leave you with a beautiful look at Kings Beach near Garwoods.
Oh.
The Wet Woody is their famous drink there. I gave our producer Jill some drink coins, like 8 of them the other day.
Oh.
She didn't bring one back.
Oh, boy.
Mm-hmm.